You are watching Niche Sports, a sports media outlet that's proudly sponsored by hezhez.co.uk, a fast-growing boxing equipment brand that supply custom designs and bespoke equipment across the United Kingdom.
Niche Sports, I'm Dan Keller. I'm with Nicholas Manners in his humble abode, your gym, which has got a lot of history, a lot of pictures which we can go around and look at on camera later. With my guests, go back to the beginning, Nick. So let's talk about how you got into boxing, how you ended up on the amateur scene, etc.
All right, thanks very much for coming over, Dan, as well. You know what I mean? I appreciate that.
No problem,
It's
brother.
always good to tell a tale. Like many of us, I'm of a certain age now. You know, I was born in the 60s. So, like many of us, we had an abundance of energy. And sometimes that energy wasn't always channeled into what people would think of as the correct avenues. So, after a couple of situations where I was, you know, incarcerated behind the wall, my oldest brother Colin, he's my role model, my mentor, my hero. See that? My older brother Colin. Anyway, he came to a certain place and he said to me, Nick, to be fair with you, the situations that you're getting into, they're getting a bit more serious and I don't see no profit coming from it, which is fair enough. You're wasting your time. You need to be getting out of these situations and getting out. And he's a sensible fella. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Because my witching hour was between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. The majority of the country, the majority of the youths of my age were working out between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You'd be working out how are you going to get some money or how are you going to get anything to go out later on. Because everything usually starts after 10 anyway. And that's when everybody gets stealing, robbing, just trying to take advantage of getting full pockets. Anyway, cut a long story short, I came home in the September. I got parole in the September. I went down to St Patrick's Club. I'll never forget.
So let's stop there a minute, sorry. So did you serve time, yeah?
That's what that means.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if you meant arrested or...
Oh, what? You didn't think I was doing adamant, did you? Stand and deliver. Come on. Yeah, I got nicked. I got arrested, got a couple of sentences. The last sentence that I did was a 2.5 year sentence. And it was pretty grim, pretty scary. I got 2.5 years. They sent me to 13 different jails.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. They said I was like a instigator of trouble and that. Not me. Not me.
I don't believe that.
It was quite funny actually, but no, that's a funny tale. It is some funny experiences in there, and I'll tell you what. I know that I'll always say, listen, jail is no place for nobody. It's no place for nobody. But I'll tell you what it is. Sometimes you get yourself in certain situations where you've got to deal with it. So you just put your coat on, get on with it. You know what I mean? I'll say what it is. There's some funny tales went on in there. Funny things. I remember people reading Dear Johns to people, and because the fella couldn't read, totally give him a different script. You know what I mean? And some, not Dear John is dying, right? So that's just off the thing. A totally different script. So some might be telling him that, listen, your bird's pregnant, mate. And he's like, I've been in here fucking 4 years. Like, just to wind him up, you know. And just other things, but listen. Sometimes in life, what you've got to do is you've got to make the best out of a bad situation. Simple, and I'll always live by that. You know what I mean? You could put me in a lump of shit, and I'll turn around and think about, hang on a minute, shit fertilizer. Fertilizer grows things. Let's see what we can do. Might be able to sell some of that fertilizer, get a few quid. You know what I mean? You never know. Make the best out of it. Anyway, back to boxing. I got out. Let me put my proper voice on. I was released. And upon release, my brother took me down to St Patrick's, where I met the likes of Terry O'Neill, Mick Thompson, Fred Meglin, Gary Atkin, God bless them all. They were very important parts of my life at that point in time. And regardless of what's gone on in the meantime, I still appreciate you for that. You know what I mean? Simple as that. You know, I'm a straight talking man. You know what I mean? Majority of you, I'm not down for anymore because I've seen the truth in what you did. But I respect you for them formative years. I say thank you for that. I know you might not like that. Nobody
No,
does
no.
that, but you know
Listen, we
reality,
call this unfiltered on here,
yeah,
so there's no bullshit.
Listen, they don't invite me to the weddings, they don't invite me to the barbecues. Go fuck yourself. At the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, boxing is such a sport that you've got to really and truly, you've got to be appreciative of the good things people do for you, but very, very mindful of the bad things that they can do as well.
Absolutely, Nick. I've met some real fucking arseholes in boxing, but I've met some of the best people ever as well.
Some of the best people.
Friends
but
for
you know
life.
What you do, though? I'll tell you what's a very, 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 very good thing and a very good piece of advice I'd give to anybody in boxing. Understand there's a certain degree of separation that it's not real. And a lot of these people aren't your friends. And a lot of these people aren't really, it's business. Understand that it's business. If you can get past that, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? But just remember it's business. But business first and foremost. And at the end of the day, the only person who bruises, the only person who hurts is actually the fighter. You know what I mean? So for all that, all you fighters, just remember, look after yourself, be respectful to yourself, be aware about yourself. Remember, you're just a piece of meat until the next prospect comes along. So look after yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Back to boxing. Listen to this. I got out in the September, and I had a fight before Christmas. You know what I mean? Because I think what had happened is I'd come out there, I'd come out of there, and I was still full of spunk and still a bit aggressive, sort of like thing. Or just not aggressive, but.
But you had a problem with the world.
Oh, listen, I'm fucking black. Of course, I've got a problem with the world. You know what I mean? Listen, until such time as they turn around and make things right, there's always going to be.
Yeah, especially in the area that you grew up in as well, mate.
Yeah. So what had happened is I get down to St Patrick's and I see two lads sparring in the ring. Those two lads were Henry Wharton and Tony Massey, two England internationals and prospects and that. And I'll be honest with you, and that's the only thing I can do. Terry O'Neill says to me, he says, "Oh, what do you think? Do you fancy this?" And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I just remember saying, that one there, I'll spar with him, and within 2 weeks he'll never spar with me again. That one there, I see something in him. I like him. I don't mind being number 2 in this gym to him, you know what I mean, because he's something to follow. I didn't even know who it was, but it was Henry Wharton, and I seen that there was something about him. And it works out that me and Henry were born on exactly the same day. We got the same birthday.
That's mental.
1 year apart.
That's mental.
You know what I mean? 1 year apart. And I remember there was a film called The Power of One, and it was based in South Africa, and it was about a black guy and a white guy, both with the same dream, but with different avenues. Different routes to go. One was from the townships, one was from the privileged. And I remember, I'll never forget, me and Henry Wharton damaged our hands. We both damaged his hands at the same time. And I was ripping out some carpet. I just got a flat, and I was ripping out some carpet from underneath a radiator. So I put my hand under, and I was pulling it. And I pulled it, and underneath there were a nut hanging out or something, or a screw hanging out, and I ripped it wide open. I could see my knuckle moving, and I thought, oh shit. Anyway, Henry Wharton had a fight quite recently, and he damaged his knuckle on his right hand and that. And anyway, Henry ended up at fucking Harley Street, which is London, top specialist. I ended up at fucking Jimmy's. You know, in St James's local hospital. But listen, it's as it is, but I always remember that and thinking, fucking hell, all right, we know where we are now then. You know what I mean? I ended up at Jimmy's, he ended up there, but fair enough. But I loved initially going down to St Patrick's. You know what I mean? It was a good vibe. To a degree, we were Gibson lads, so Gary Atkins, Terry O'Neill, this, that and the other, they were like Leeds 9 Gibson people. So with me not coming in with a Rasta man, bad man, ragamuffin, street man attitude, I just came in straight Yorkshire and just said it as it is, you know what I mean? So the sort of like, that was more acceptable to them.
Yeah.
But I also remember when I tried to put on some reggae music and that in the tape recorder as it was at the time, because at the time they were listening to "It's the Final Countdown," and I've gone in the gym and I'm like, what the fuck's this? Yo man, come on, we need some rhythm in here. And it was actually like, do you remember the scene in Rocky where he takes Rocky to the downtown gym. And all the guys look at him like that. Ooh, fresh meat, white meat. You know what I mean, like that. And it was a bit. Don't get me wrong. We was welcome. We was made welcome there. And if we wasn't being made welcome, it went straight over his heads because we didn't know. You know what I mean? But we was always welcome there. It was a really encompassing gym. So we've ended up training there throughout his careers, me and our Colin, as amateurs. Like I say, I had my first fight against it was a lead select versus an Irish select at the Irish Centre. And I personally think that because of how I was in my seemingly confident manner, I think they'd turn around and gone, you know what, let's see if this fucker can fight. You know what I mean? So my first was a lead select versus Dublin select at the Queen's Hotel. I was in the change room with all the lads and that, and I think things were expected because by all accounts I could defend myself on the street amongst my peers and my friends, so they thought that I'd be able to do okay. So I was quite well supported in reality. The lads kicked me out of the room because I was so nervous. I was fighting, just passing in.
Stunk the fucking place out.
Stunk the place out. I was like, crapping myself basically. You know, absolutely crapping myself. Fortunately, I went out to fight and I got the win. And I knocked him out in the first round. Bang! I won my first 4 fights as an amateur with KOs in the first round.
That give you a lot of confidence, that?
Now I'm confident anyway. If you stand
still, even more so.
Yeah, it gave me confidence that well, these guys who have been boxing quite a while, actually I'm catching them, so fair enough. But at the end of the day, it's a hard enough game. But I think it just my confidence came in the fact that of the people my age, I felt confident around the people my age. So if you're my age, I'm alright. I've got enough confidence in myself, and whether I win, lose or draw, I'm confident enough to give you a go. You know what I mean? That's not to say I'm tough, I'm saying, well, I'm alright right there. It's like now, go to the other lads who are higher up and harder and tougher and got them reputations, that's a different thing. You know what I mean? And you go, you know what, handful that, nightmare that.
Not ready for that.
Not into that, you know what I mean? But what I'll always be into, and I've always been into, self-defence. You know what I mean? Simple as that done. Self-defence, I'll be happy with that. Other than that, I'm not interested. You know what I mean? Control violence is what I'm into.
So you won your first 4, did you lose your 5th?
No, I won that as well.
You won your first 4 by first?
Fought by KO. I did really, for me, I did really well in the amateurs. I'll tell you where I think my first loss was against a guy called Paul Hitch, and that was in the ABAs, and he was a North East fighter. And what had happened is, he was a very good fighter. I don't know if I deserved to lose, but you know what, in retrospect, considering what I personally didn't do to contribute to the bout, I suppose, I did deserve to lose. And he went on to be a decent pro, did Paul Hitch, from North Bolden or something like that, from North East. Really good kid as well, nice fella. Good boxer, good standard boxer. And we had a good fight, North East. My brother Colin boxed the assassin, Willie Neal, I think it is, from Sunderland. He boxed him the same night. We both boxed in the North East and both lost on points that night in decent fights against good quality opposition, considering how inexperienced me and Colin really were. Carried on, I only had 17 amateur fights, but I boxed in Germany, boxed in Romania.
It took you about a bit then?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, to be fair, I think they were chatting me up. You know what I mean? Because there were a few times when I got locked up and I come out, and fair play to them, St. Pat's would say, I say, hey, listen, there's a trip over there, take it as an holiday. You can either take it as an holiday, get your head clear, and then when you come back, we're going to box, we're going to go. Or, do you think you're ready to box? So yeah, I've been training while I'm inside and that, this, that and the other. And I went to Germany in one of them tournaments, it was Oktoberfest. And we were boxing a big tent. I got disqualified for knocking out he wasn't Romanian, he was Bulgarian or something like that. He was Bulgarian, and what they said I was boxing too professional and that. And all that had happened is that I slipped a shot, pivoted, and I was side onto him, and I thought, bang! You know what I mean? I banged him out. And anyway, whole place went up, and they were like, it was not expected. You know what I mean? But They ended up disqualifying me, telling them that I was too professional. The trainer, Mick Ryan, God bless him, he turned around and come in the ring and went, Nick, don't celebrate too hard. We might not get out of here. You know what I mean? So I thought, all right then. So I'm looking around the ring, and we're still in the ring at this time, and there's loads outside the ring and that, and we weren't too pleased. So I did the thing that I'd seen loads of people do at the Olympics and this, that and the other, and that's go to out to the four corners and that, you know what I mean? And anyway,
did it work?
Yeah, it did. It did.
I love that.
They were accepting of it, you know what I mean? And because they couldn't understand how their boy had been banged out, they didn't understand why
you'd been disqualified.
So it was all
a lot of confusion, right?
Confusion. The fact of the matter is he'd been beat. Anyway, I got disqualified, which is a shame. But all the lads on the trip and that. Good lads, I think John Lyons or something like that was on there, Andy Lyons, some good lads from St Helens, Liverpool, this, that and the other. I can't quite remember the names because I'll probably get it wrong with this and that. But we had some good times over there abroad. I went to Romania, boxing the multi-nations Olympic qualifying contest, got a silver medal. Actually should have got a gold. I know a lot of people say that, but I should have got a gold, you know what I mean? And even all the Romanians, everybody were like, you should have got gold, that was your fight. But some really good experiences boxing wise. Germany, as an amateur, didn't really got to North East divisional finals, and I don't even remember a lad called Eric Noy. Eric Noy was a really quality kid, and I think in reality, because Henry Wharton had beat Paul Hitch the previous year in the ABAs, I underestimated Paul Hitch, and I thought to myself, well, I spar regularly with Wharton, so I should be able to
hold your own with him.
Hold my own with him. And to be fair, Paul was a really good pro. To be fair, he was a really good pro, solid amateur, good pro. But just like a lot of other people, we end up with broken dreams. You might lose a fight, lose enthusiasm for it, and just knock it on the head. There's a lot of competition back in the day against fighters. You had fighters down the street, never mind down the road. Street, road, region, there were fighters all over the place, you know what I mean? There were fighters, and you always had a challenge. You couldn't not get about, you know what I mean?
So, what was the decision in turning pro then?
Well, Mickey Duff came up to Leeds and that, and Mickey Duff had his eye on Henry Wharton, and he'd come up to Leeds to sign Henry Wharton in a big blaze of glory. And when he got to the gym, he looked around the gym and he could see Michael Gale, experienced international, Tony Silkstone, myself, Nick Manners, Denzel Brown, Ron Hopley, Dave Larkin, I should have said Colin Manners a lot earlier, Colin Manners, and there was a few other kids in the gym, and he seen that he had a bill.
Yeah.
He had a full
straight away. There's another card there. Yeah.
There's a card there, so he looked at us all and he took us all on. You know what I mean? Great experience. Great. For me, it was a great honour because while I'd been inside, my brother Colin had been bringing me and sending me boxing news and that, and all I ever saw was, and I'm reading it, all I ever saw was, as regards UK, Mickey Duff was the manager, the main manager to have, and Mickey Van, he would always reffing everybody, he would reffing all big fights, and I said to myself at the time, you know what, I'm going to do boxing, and I'm going to get him as my manager, and I'm going to get him at some point to referee my fight, because if I get a fight refereed by him, I know that I'm sort of like on the way. And that was my motivation. I'll see it, and listen, the planets aligned, this, that and the other, and all of a sudden I got to come by Mickey Duff, which I'm so happy about, because you know something, regardless of what's said, thought, heard, known, Mickey Duff was my manager. Simple as that, happy as Larry. And under him I had a really good experience, and it's something that I can tell my kids. So who are your manager? So, well, you see that Eddie Hearn? Yeah. See how he's massive? Yeah. Well, the man at the time. Oh, remember Frank Warren? Yeah. See how he's massive? Yeah. Well, the man at the time, my time, was Mickey Duff. He was the biggest man in European boxing, and I got him as mine. So I'm happy as Larry. Turning pro, it was a good experience to turn with him because you got serious exposure. In them days, it was all about it was Eurosport, and the fights were, it was sportscast. and the fights were broadcast in all the pubs up and down the country. So we'd be going down to, we might go down to, let's just say for example, you go to Stoke, and somebody would go, "You a boxer, you?" "Yeah. I've seen you box over a month from that spot." And you go, "All right," and you don't realise that, listen, that sportscast was fantastic. It got into, like I say, all the pubs up and down the country, you were getting beamed out, you know what I mean, your fights and that, whether it were 4-rounder, 6-rounder, whatever. So the exposure under Mickey Duff and the promotional noose from him was fantastic.
Where did you have your first fight? Where did you make your debut?
I made my professional debut at Harrogate.
Yeah?
Harrogate.
And what did you remember of it?
I boxed a kid called Paul Muddy from Birmingham, and he was an experienced journeyman. And you know what? I've gone out, and Denny Mancini, God bless him, he wrapped my hands and that, and when Denny Mancini wrapped your hands, you know what? You can punch through walls, trust me. Anybody who's had their hands, if you could punch, you could punch harder, with more confidence. And so I'm boxing Paul Muddy. First round, boxing him, trying to keep him at a distance and that, sussing it out, not much being done. Goes back, what's his name, Denny Mancini says to me, he says, "What are you doing?" So, "What do you mean, are you fucking fighting or what?" So, "What are you on about? Fucking get him." Fair enough, time. So,
How was you told?
Oh, told, yeah, and the thing is, I love that, because they just tell you, "What are you fucking doing?" "So you're fighting or what?" "Fucking get him, man." Fair enough. So I went out, and I've done something, and I've caught him with a hook, and he's come straight in and clinched me. And in the clinch, he says to me, he says, "Fucking hell, we're both going to get paid, you know, you don't have to hit like that."
Did that piss you off?
Did it piss me off? It just, I was like that. And for 5 rounds, I was like, what did he just say to me? Has he just said, "Don't hit him as hard"? And then all of a sudden, bing, the final bell had gone to points. And Denny Mancini's like, "Listen, you need to fucking knock it on the head." Say, "What you on about? If you're going to fucking fight like that and get carried by him, you know what I mean, you need to knock it on the head." I'm like, "Did you hear what he fucking said to me?"
Yeah, it would have pissed me off, that. I would have
ended
ended up trying to knock him out.
No, well, I didn't know. I didn't have a... I was like, this... And then bing, fight's done, and I was thinking, has he said that to me? Is this what happens? And then Denny's like, "You need to knock it on the head if you're going to fucking fight like that." I said, "What are you on about? You didn't hear what he fucking said to me." You know what I mean? He said, "You need to be knocking him out." He said, "Listen, look at the size here. What's going to happen when somebody realises that you can get fiddled in your head like that? They're going to try and chop you down." And I'm like, "Fucking hell, fair enough." So then, from then, I was like, "Fuck you, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to try and get you." And what I always turn around and say is, I'm very happy with the level I boxed at, because the level I boxed at is the level I got to get to. So I'm not going to say, could have done this, could have done that, could have done that.
Could have, would have, should have, innit?
I went to where I got. And if I'd have had the determination, the drive, the ambition, the intent to go further, I would have. But one thing I'll always turn around and say, I didn't box to be a bad man. I didn't box to be a world champion. I didn't box to be any of that. I boxed to get the anger and the aggression out of my system, because at the time I used to react and respond a little bit too quickly, and it won't do me any good. You know what I mean? It won't do me any good, and it won't do me any good at all.
Harrogate, that's a bit of a mad one, isn't it?
Henry was from
there anymore, is there?
Henry was from York. So what they did is,
that made it
made sense and that, you know what I mean? It was a really good venue, Harrogate Civic Hall. And when I see it now, I still have a little wry smile and think, you know what, I boxed there. Because sometimes it's about the venues that you box at. It's not
a
about
beautiful place, Harrogate, as well.
It's lovely. I'll go over there and I'll go sit down and I'll drink a cup of tea and pretend I'm...
Yep, that's it.
There's been a couple of times I'm trying to think, is that picture there? There, that picture there. Mighty Mike, God bless him. We used to go over to Harrogate, and he'd pretend to be an old American trainer, like Mickey out of Rocky, and I'd pretend to be an American boxer and that. And we go in there and we sit down, and we went into a place called Betty's, which is
really, rooms.
Yeah. Well, I like all that shit. You know what I mean? When I go somewhere, I'm like,
fucking too right.
Yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? Go.
It's all part of the culture, innit?
Yeah, try and be how the better half lives. Anyway, we'd go over there and we'd just sit down and we'd cups of tea and Betty's and this, that and the other. Have some really good times and some good laughs. But let's not backtrack back to boxing. My second fight, my third fight, my fourth fight, probably my fifth fight, sixth fight maybe as well. Knockout. And it wasn't that. Fear's a real good factor, because if you train hard and you hit hard and you know you're quite good, in reality you must know that in order to be beat, that person's got to have everything you've got and more. So that motivating factor was, for me, was, well, what I want to do to them, if they want to do to me, I'd better make sure that they don't, because really and truly, fuck that, what I want to do to them is probably going to end up fucking hurting, and I don't want to be hurt, so I'll let me do that to them. I'm happy to be hurt when there's some money on the table. Up until then, get rid of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't mean it like a bad man or nothing like that, but that's how.
Don't get paid for overtime.
No, not at all. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. At the end of the day, what your last performance gives your next opponent either confidence or fear. And I'd rather you have fear. You know what I mean? Simple as that. Don't be getting confident on me, get fearful. Well, that's what I thought.
What were your best memories from your career? Besides boxing, joke cards, I guess. But we'll get to that a bit later on.
Best memories of my career? I've got to turn around and say that when Fidel Castro Smith and Henry Wharton were put to box at Ellen Road Stadium, the same as what Josh did, but 20 years earlier, somewhere 25 years earlier. And I remember turning around and saying to Mickey Duff at the time, right at the time, as soon as it were announced, yo, I'm on that.
Get me on that card.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they were like, oh, we haven't done Mickey.
I'm a Leeds boy, get me on that card.
You know, and they're like, well, we'll sort the bill out, so I'll tell you what it is, then I don't mean to be funny. But if I'm not on that bill, you need to give me my contract back, because I'll tell you something, as a Leeds man, in 30 years' time, in 20 years' time, in 40 years' time, that show will still be relevant in the history of Leeds. And I want to know that I'm on that show, because anybody who was with anybody needed to be on that show.
Did you have success that night?
I had good success that night. Yeah. I had a very good fight that night. You know what I mean?
We'll have to try and find some archives of that.
Listen,
did you have hair then, Manners?
Did I? I think I might have had a ponytail too. Yeah, everybody had all sorts. Nigel Ben had. Remember when Nigel Ben had his ponytail?
Yeah.
I had mine a week before that.
Oh, so you started it, yeah?
Listen,
you heard it here first.
Listen, you heard it, yeah. I had my thing in, and then I got mine done, and I'm in the gym flexing, and I was playing like everybody else. Everybody else was playing that dangerous, dangerous. Everybody was playing that. The next thing you know, my man comes out, Nigel comes out to dangerous, and I'm like, I've been training to that. I want to come out to that. You know what I mean? But and then the hair and all that, and I'm like, he's copied me. You know what I mean? But he hasn't obviously copied me. He just the style.
It's just a coincidence and the style at the time, etc.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think if we've got a decent picture. There'll be a picture somewhere of me with me bloody corner on that. You know what I mean?
I've been looking for one, but I can't find it. I think it's a myth.
No, well, yeah, it's a myth. Yeah, I've always had good hair. Jesus Christ. I'll say it is, you know, when I show people and that, and I don't know why I do, but I show them and they piss themselves. I'm like, why have I shown them that? So they piss themselves laughing. Fucking Milli Vanilli. Is it Milli Vanilli or something like that? Well, you're not old enough for them. But Milli Vanilli, they had them bloody braids and all that, or them, whatever they're called. But no, that was actually one of the... That's one of them things that you say, that'll stick with me and live with me forever. You know, I mean, coming out onto Ellen Road pitch, looking around, seeing friends, family, people who are supporting me, people who are wondering if I'm going to get chinned and this, that and the other, seeing them looking around and going, you know what you remember tonight is down to me. So I've got to make sure that you remember positively, because I'll tell you something, I don't want to be that guy who's remembered for getting beat on Ellen Road.
Were Leeds United doing well at the time as well?
Yeah, very well. We just won
the league, and
you know what I mean? So one of them, and lads from Leeds 9 and that, and Lincoln Green, Ailes, Chapeltown, whatever, they were all represented, all that out there in force, and you got to remember that you're representing them.
Yeah, absolutely. You're representing absolutely.
Them, and then you're thinking, Jesus Christ, there's half of yous out there could do better than me at this anyway. You know, because listen, don't kid yourself. Just because you're the boxer, don't mean to say you're the best one. No, there's plenty of kids sat in the crowd who could do better than you, but you know what? They just haven't got that certain thing, that element that you've got. But give them that element and they're going to rise. They would do fantastic. I'm sure you know yourself, there's guys out there you think, you know what, if you could get your head right, you'd be fantastic. But you know what, you can't get your head right, so sit down and watch. You know that kind of...
Yeah, it's right, though, you're right, you know that.
Yeah, and so, like I say, I'd look out at the crowd and I think, some of you love me, some of you absolutely test me because I've probably done you out or something like that. You know, no, it happens, you know what I mean? Listen, you ask half of them, you ask half of the boxers and that. And I'll tell you what, there's a good element of the people who come to watch you fight, who come to watch you get your ass kicked. You know what I mean? Because probably they couldn't do it themselves, right? You know what I mean? So you've got to fight all them elements as well, and self-respect, pride, ego, all them things come into it.
Did you put extra pressure on your shoulders that night, or did you just soak it in?
I'll tell you something straight. I'll tell you something now. I'll be honest with you. I'll say it as it is. I don't think there was a man. I don't think there was a man on that bill my weight who would have beat me that night. Not a chance. I don't think so. Not on that particular night.
Love that.
You know what I mean? And that's the same.
Fucking love that.
And I'll tell you, that's the same, I think, as when Josh Warrington went to fight Lee Selby that night. I'll tell you something now. I don't think there'd have been a lot of people in his weight. I don't think there'd been anybody in his weight division. I'm not bothered what you say, because sometimes when you've got that drive and that
even the fight itself with Selby and Lee, I think there could have been 2 Lee Selbys there.
Yeah, and Josh wouldn't have lost because he knew he had to win. Because you know something, I don't think he could have lived with himself if he had to walk around Leeds knowing that he'd lost on Ellen Road pitch.
And you never know, he might not have got another opportunity either again or for a certain number of years.
Yeah, but the thing is, the momentum there, and it's like I can empathise with Josh because forever and ever he'll go past Ellen Road and he'll know, I did Leeds proud, did well. And even
against
now,
the bona fide world champion as well.
100%. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, Lee Selby, Chris Sanagar, they thought it was nailed on that they were going to win.
It was going to outbox him.
Not 100% outbox him and beat him up and stop him. And it were like, really? You do know that there's a cycle, sorry. And in reality, you've had some good defences, and in reality, you're at the end of it. And this is it's boxing, conveyor belt. And sometimes the timing is just right. Absolutely. Timing's right.
Back to yourself, let's talk about the Joe Calzaghe fight. How did it all come about, that, Nick?
Well, what we've done lately, we've seen Chris Eubanks Jr. And we've seen Liam Smith, and with Liam Smith we saw 1 or 2 excuses come out, didn't we? So I'm not going to give none. What I'll turn around and say is, I was offered a fight against a guy who I didn't really think much of. You know what I mean? Because he'd not done that much up to then. He was just a prospect coming up, and he was like, yeah, all right. So I got offered this fight. Fair enough, because I do one thing I did want to do, and I always wanted to do, is that I knew to a degree that there was a possibility that I wasn't going to be able to do the things that I wanted to do in boxing, because maybe my personality and character wouldn't gel with the people who counted, or maybe I wasn't at that point where I could listen and understand the business of the game and the facts, some of the things that you have to do in order to go forward. I'd have been like, nah, I'm not doing that. And that's it. In reality, there's a lot of things that you can think about and think, all right, I'll do that in order to get that. So I understand that my character and personality may not be what some people of influence want it to be.
Required, yeah.
They want me to do and say what they want, whereas I'm like...
You're not a yes man.
Unfortunately not, no.
So how many fights in was you, and how many fights in?
12 fights in.
12, both of you, so it was 12 at the time.
I think I might have been 12, 13, he might have been 12, he was 12, and I was 12, 13. We had similar records, we were both banging people out, this, that and the other. I'll say
this was before he had all his hand damage and all that as well.
Yeah, we were banging him out. 6 days isn't a long time to turn around and fight a man of his calibre.
Is that all you had noticed, 6 days?
That's the most I'll say. That's the most I'll say. I'll never say anything else.
Okay.
6 days, that's it. Anyway, I'm not boxed for a year. Anyway, I took the challenge.
Wow.
I took the challenge because at the end of the day, boxing is a challenge. And
of course it is.
What I want to know, and what I always wanted to know was, when I eventually retired, I wanted to know And I want to be able to honestly say, was I good enough? Why wasn't I good enough? What made me not good enough? This, that, and the other. And actually, I answered all them questions. I can answer them questions. So anyway, I've boxed Joe over, it was an 8 rounder. I lasted 4.5 rounds and I was exhausted. Stopped. It's on YouTube and that. It's not my proudest moment, but you know what? It's a moment. And it's a moment that I wouldn't change. Because you've got to go in. You've got to go in. You've got to have a go.
Of course it is. You're not boxing for 12 months and then taking a fight against another hot prospect at the time.
But you know,
a lot of people would have just got absolutely not. Do you know what I mean?
But you've got to have a go. And back in them days, if you didn't box for, I was constantly ringing up the boxing news, and if you didn't box for 4 months, they took you out of the ratings.
Right.
And to anybody, back in the day, you might not have money in your pocket, but you'd have that boxing news in your back pocket. And you know what it is, you'd have the ratings on it once a month, and once a month you get your name in that book, and it'd let you know where you are, who's in front, who's around, and where you need to go, who you need to be targeting, who you need to be doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was happy at that. It's been on them all the time. So after I split with Mickey Duff, I was frozen out to a degree, you know what I mean? So like, fair enough, bringing boxing news, I'm still here, I'm still trying. Anyway, got offered this fight from Mickey Duff. Trying to get rid of me, wasn't it? Yeah, try to get rid of me, man, that's all it was. If he could have got me, because to all intents and purposes, I was still a good prospect myself, just needed sorting out. But at the end of the day, if he could get me beat up and eradicated in such a way that nobody else would be able to use their imagination on me and say, oh, it could be alright. That's what they do. I'm not saying that's what they do, but that's how it is. If you get beat in such a way that people can't imagine you winning again, you're gone. Whereas you get beat and they go, well, he never got knocked about, and he may not have been fit, and he might not listen, and he was still doing alright. And then go, alright, listen, let's build him up and let's train him properly, let's see how he goes.
Yeah,
Give you might get another chance.
But it didn't work out that way.
I have to admit, Joe Calzaghe, absolutely fantastic, fast, and one thing that I'll give him, that will, well, a lot of people say it, and they know he's got it, but they don't get it. I'm talking supporters might not get it, but they'll get it, but they might not feel it. Joe is a brave, tough man. A brave, tough man. And mentally, he's not being shaken by nobody. Remember when Roy Jones said to, not Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins said to, what's his name? Joe Calzaghe, I ain't gonna let this white boy beat me. I thought, oh, that's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, fucking idiot.
You know, I mean, you might have said it in your mind, you know, because even I was, when I was stood up opposite Joe, and I'm like, you let this skinny little blood clot beat me? You can't beat me. I tried fucking flexing my six pack and all that, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna broke this boy up, and then all of a sudden the bell went, and it didn't happen like that. It didn't happen like that. The kid's fast.
Fucking lightning,
he's
innit?
tough. His game. I gave him 1 or 2 thumps, you know, that should have made him back off and think. And he was like, come on. And I thought, you know what? Kid's game. I mean, his game, he kept coming back.
He was the new 30 fights later, he was the retired, unbeaten.
Well, you know what I'm really proud of as well, because people say, oh, don't you wish, don't you? And I go, listen, let me tell you something. I'm glad I lost to Joe Calzaghe. And they go, why? I say, well, who am I to have stood in the way of such a career as that? Because I know for the fact that if I had have got a victory over him, I don't think I'd have gone on and appreciated it and used it like how he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
for me, I turn and say, listen, I'm glad to have been in with him, glad to have traded hands with him, glad that even after we boxed, it wasn't an inconclusive fight, considering that we both knockout lads. You know, we like to put them on the floor. But I think they might have saved me for another day or another beating. You know what I mean? But after the fight, we still got on. And then when he was challenging, initially it was Steve Collins, but when he went on to challenge, when he went on to challenge Eubanks, he called me for a sparring. And there's a couple of, I remember, I've just got to say this, Tony Booth, I've got to tell it, Tony, you said your bit, you said it in the book, you said that you saw me getting flogged by Joe Calzaghe and bounced up and down off the floor. He said it in his book. So what I can confirm is that it didn't happen, because it was you who did one night sparring, jumped on the train and ran off, and he never saw you again. And every time you see him now, you're asking him for that one day sparring, but you did do a runner. So just to get the record straight, I don't only say that, I say that with love. But what I will always turn around and say is this: you might tell lies on me, I'll tell the truth on you.
Love that.
Anyway, that's it. And still peace and love to you, Tony. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, well, you did the running away, not me. You know what I mean? Because it's confirmed, it's in stone that I was Joe Karazagi's main sparring partner for when he beat Chris Eubanks Jr. for his World Championship. That's just setting the record straight, Tony. Alright.
Let's talk about winning the Central Area title.
Central Area title, what happened was, I really wanted, no disrespect to any of the other boxers who box or anything like that, but what I always saw was ex-boxers who not won anything or a title were just, to a degree, tough lads who had a go at boxing. And I thought to myself, you know what, there's not a chance, I don't want that. I want that word champion behind my name. I don't want no stupid championship. What I want to do is I want to try and do it the right way. I'll try and get an area title. I want to be the champion of my area first. And then if I can be
the traditional route.
Area, British, Commonwealth, European. But if I'm going to go on it, I want to step on that ladder. So I got the area title. I boxed a gentleman from Doncaster called Kevin Burton. And he may not have had the greatest record in the world, but he had some good results in that. I think he boxed Clinton Woods a couple of times, right, and didn't disgrace himself at all over 6 and 8 rounds. I think
Clinton was a seriously hard bastard as well.
Clinton was a good kid. Clinton's one of them champions who really needs to be celebrated, because he's a real one. You know what I mean? No bullshit, no airs and graces, and that. A real champion who fought his way and really did have to fight. So I give Clinton I love real boxers. You know what I mean? The real ones. He had to go the hard way. If you look at Clinton Woods' record, you know, he's had some real hard tests along the way. You know what I mean? Some relevant acid tests. Anyway, what were we just saying about
your opponent, Donny?
From Donny. So my brother Colin, at a certain point in his career, he'd gone over to Johnny Rushton, and he joined his stable. And Kevin Burton was over there. Anyway, Colin, he always had a habit of putting the shit up me anyway. So he's gone like, he's a tough kid, is he? That lad, you know, I sparred him myself. So what, he spars you? I went, yeah. I thought, fucking hell, here we go then. So he's, do you have to, does he take your licks and that? He went, yeah. Oh, fucking hell, because Colin was a hard puncher, even when he wasn't trying. And I thought, alright, so I thought, fucking hell, this is going to be a fight, this. Excuse my language on that. I thought, this is going to be a fight, this. Fair enough then, but I've got an idea what I want to do to him. So we called Kevin the Rock Burton. Good lad, still friends with him now, still well thinking, and I thought to myself, fair enough. So my brother Ricky, he was training me at the time. And there's the three of us. 3 brothers. Myself, Ricky, and Colin. Yeah. So he was training me at the time. So what he turned around and said is, what we'd done is when we'd decided to train together, me and my brother Ricky, you know what brothers are like and that, you know what it's like training anybody anyway. So what I did is, I said, listen, I'll tell you what it is, after each training session, I'm going to do exactly what you want me to do, but after each training session, the last 20 minutes of the training session, my own ideas please. So it's like, yeah, when we come to that agreement, so there'll no fallout. So
I like that.
Right then, so anyway, what I'd said was, I think this kid throws a big right hand. I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to try and bowl over with a big right hand, but I think if I can turn around and slip that right hand, check him and bang him with a hook, he's gone. And I don't think it'll. I think the way that he throws them big hands, he does actually leave himself open. So if I can get that one shot off good, I think I might be able to do him, because if he's as tough as they say, I don't want to find out. You know what I mean? Let's just see. So anyway, we would practice and boom, step, slip, bang, step, slip, bang, step, slip, bang. We practiced it. And come out for the first round of that fight, and I've thrown a feint, and he's come to throw that right hand, and I've stepped and I've gone bang, and it caught him that good that he just froze. He just froze, and from the waist down, just dropped, and his legs were still there. And I've gone over, I wanted to finish him off, but it was like, it's done. So I just made sure it was done, we were over. You know what I mean? Out on his feet. Good lad though, good lad. Nice.
Because some fighters can let the adrenaline get the better of them, can't they? And still throw.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, well, I'd caught him with that shot and it looked like a shotgun going off. I had the tape up to a time ago, and I actually thought it was something wrong with the tape, but every time that shot went, it went, and it's like, is there something wrong with this tape? I said, no, that's actually the punch. You know what I mean? And I caught him.
One of the best punches you've ever thrown.
Nah, I've thrown some good ones. You know what I mean? To be fair, I've thrown some good ones. And usually them good ones are instinctive. That one there, I planned to throw.
Yeah, that was planned. Yeah.
And you're looking for it, looking, but it's nice when you just throw it free and you just feel it just go all the way down your body. And you think, and then you call the ambulance. You know what I mean? But no, I don't mean that. But I did actually love, for a period of time, I tried to reinvent myself. And because I didn't have the experience of boxing that many have had from being a boy, all I could do was copy what I saw. And for example, I didn't even realise that I was a southpaw. Yeah, I didn't even realise that I was a southpaw. Because I just saw Tommy Hearns and I thought, right, he stands like that, that's me, let's practice. Didn't even know. And I was thinking of myself as Tommy Hearns for a while. So right, you got a cold assassin, you got to deal with these guys and that, you know what I mean? And then I realised that I wasn't working my legs at all. So I reinvented myself and I used to do a lot of work. Still the crap now, but I started doing on, you know, them steppers and all that business. Working on my legs, my foundation, because early days, if people used to miss the wind off it and make my legs shiver, you know what I mean? I had no real base, no real foundation. So when I started working my legs in there, I ended up thinking, when I say thinking, psychologically thinking I was Evander Holyfield. You know what I mean? Because he always had good balance, good legs on him, solid legs. Excuse me, if he took a shot, he could take that shot based on his strength in his legs and that in his base. And for the last 3 fights of my career, I felt absolutely on fire. You know, I'm happy. And unfortunately, I retired as Central Area title. I'd won it, I defended it, and then I got offered a fight with Neil Simpson from Coventry, who was a good kid, former British champion, and that eliminated for the British title. But they told me that I've got to go to Scotland for it, and the peanuts that they wanted to give me to go to Scotland for a 10-rounder, eliminated for the British title. I was like, I won't sell myself like that. That won't cover my expenses, it won't cover my costs for the training camp,
digs, etc.
It won't cover it, so that didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? So I was like, you won't get my black ass up there like that. I'm not. This ain't no roots. This ain't no slave trade here. I'm not doing it. And then when I didn't really get what I wanted, I said, you know something? Something tells me that boxing ain't going to be how I want it to be. So
is that why you called it a day?
Yeah. One of the reasons. You know what I mean? One of the reasons. Another of the reasons was that after the negotiations and that, and I'd already said I'm not going up there for peanuts like that. Not when my brother's got a promoter's licence. Ron Gray's got a promoter's licence down there. I can get a crowd in Leeds. He can get a crowd in Coventry. We could all make a few quid there. And it's still an eliminator. So why are we going up to Scotland or Tommy Gilmore show? I don't know. That's the business of it.
Which is a notoriously racist country as well.
Well, listen, how can they be racist? They're Scottish. Everybody hates them. Everybody hates this.
So that's the irony of it sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, the irony of it is there's so much hate being directed out there by all these people. You go, hang on a minute. Well, don't think your flavour of bump. Simple as that, you know what I mean? But, and then I retired, and I was very, very happy with my retirement. And what I'd always say to a lot of boxers is, you see, tell me if I'm right or wrong, do you not find that there's a lot of boxers that are not bitter,
but discontent?
Yeah, they're not content with the careers at all. And you know what I think that is? There's some very high-profile fighters who don't even mention the career. They won't mention the careers and that. You know why? Because of all the highs they've got, they ended on a low.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. At the end of the day, personally, if I was a promoter and I promoted somebody who'd had a really, really good career and then they'd lost and this, that and the other, I'd probably give them a little run around, just to say goodbye, so that they can go say goodbye with their hand up and that, and walk off into the sunset. Because a lot of these boxers, listen, you're only as good as your last fight. If that's the case, there you go, and that's what sticks in their heads and that, you know what I mean. And some of them feel embarrassed because they may have lost. So what? Did you win? Yeah. Were you happy with that? Yeah. Well then, you know what I mean. If you can win, you can lose. I'm not saying you have to lose, but what I'm saying is, if you can win, there's a possibility you can lose, and if there's a possibility you can lose, you're gonna have to take it. You're gonna have to suck it up and live with it. Simple as that. Because that ultimately could have been down to you. Simple.
Of course. So how's retirement treating you now?
Happy as Larry, you know what I mean? Happy as Larry, like I say. The only thing that I wanted out of me was that I just wanted the rage out of me. You know what I mean? I didn't go into boxing for money. I didn't go in for it for titles. I didn't go into it for this, that, and the other. I did it because it was a way to channel my aggression, get rid of the frustration and anger that I felt continually being part of a shit society and that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it can get to you when you think, I want to be absolutely fantastic. Well, I am. But I want to be even more fantastic. I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. And then sometimes you might get restrictions, you might get blockages just for certain reasons and that you know what I mean? But and then you can get frustrated, and then you think, I just want to go forward, I just want to strive, I just want to achieve. And then there might be certain doors that are closed because of certain demographics and that. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But the thing that I always remember is that I came into this earth alone. You know what I mean? I came into this earth naked. So really and truly, anything I've got is an advantage. You know what I mean? And a privilege. So I'm happy, whatever it is.
And that's it. Your coffin didn't come with a bunk bed. You weren't born.
That's right. So
your coffin's not coming with a bunk bed, is it?
Yeah.
You know what
I mean? The only thing that I fear for the future of these kids, me. 50 years down the line, how's it going to be?
I know. I look at my daughter now and I think, fucking hell.
I just think to myself,
what's going to happen?
Is there somewhere nice, peaceful and simple where people are just nice to each other and correct to each other and they don't judge people based on what they may have or may have not? Is there not somewhere where people just love each other and respect each other? And you know what it is? I think there's plenty of places like that. I think it's just that in our society, it's not. Honesty and love isn't being promoted, is it? Really?
No.
You know what I mean?
It always seems to be negative online.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that
I
stuff.
don't like that. You know what I mean? I love pure positivity. But I remember one time we went boxing. Me and Denzel Brown went to Germany. Went to spar the Rossiogini brothers, Graziano Rossiogini and Ralph Rossiogini. One was a super middleweight champion who boxed Chris Eubanks. The other one was a cruiserweight who boxed Carl Thompson. I think he boxed Carl Thompson for the European, but Chris Eubanks and Graziano boxed for the super middleweight title.
The world title.
Yeah. So we went over there to spar them in preparation. So I'd had a court date on the Friday, so I couldn't go on the Friday, but I could fly over on the Sunday. So Denzel went on the Friday, the Thursday or something. Denzel went on the Thursday, sparred on the Friday. I got there on the Sunday. And he sat there and he's still going like that with a bit of cotton wool. He's like that. So I'm like, yo Denzel, what's going on? Gets there, yo Denzel, what's happening? Are they alright? Like, he went, Nicky man, these people are fucking about, man. I mean, bust my nose, you know. I'm like, bust your nose, Denzel, I've never known you bleed at all. Then you know, like when you're your gym mate and that, it's like, you don't bleed.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm like, okay, Denzel, I'm here now. Don't worry about things.
I got your back, bro.
Nah, don't worry about that. The diplomat is here now. The ambassador is
Yeah.
here. I'll sort
I've
this
got
out.
you, bro.
Yeah,
I've
I got you. Don't worry. I'll sort this shit out, man. You watch. The next day we both sat in the hotel, both like that. Yo, Ben, these people are fucking about. These men are fucking about. Like, no, man. So we're like, right. So what we had to do, we had to go, you know what, we're going to devise a plan because we don't come here to get beat up, we're prospects, man. So anyway, like, all right, we're only doing 4 rounds each, you know, because people don't realise, listen, you're not going, sometimes you can be there and be contracted to do all the rounds and that, but a lot of the time you just there to do 4 rounds and that.
That's it. Yeah,
5 or 6 sparring partners.
Or even if you are doing 12 rounds, it'd be with 3 different guys.
Yeah. So anyway, next thing you know, they've worked out that they were just on us 4, 4, 4, 4, or whatever, you know what I mean? So anyway, just falls. So, right then, listen, if you go first, you target his body. He's like, why am I targeting his body, man? Fuck that, he's going to be licking it. All right then. I'll target his body. No. So anyway, we worked out, if you go first, you get his body. Just work him, try and tire him out. Anyway, after a couple of days of that, we got into a bit of a routine. And anyway, we bust him up. You know what I mean? We bust him up. Denzel ended up cutting his eye in that, with a nice slashing shot. And we ended up getting a couple of days off. But the first thing that we was asking was, are we getting paid?
Uh-huh.
And like, what do you mean? I said, listen, we're here to train. Just because you're not training tomorrow, for whatever reason, we're still here to train and we're getting our money. And they're like, yeah. Cool. Take as long as you want. You know what I mean? But some of the experiences that we had sparring abroad are what gave us the confidence and what gives you the confidence to be who you are. You know what I mean? I remember a guy called Henry Mask. He was a light heavyweight champion, made something like 18 defences of his title.
Wow.
Look him up, Henry the Gentleman Mask. Anyway, I went over there and do you remember a guy called Axel Schultz? Axel Schultz was a former European heavyweight champion. And he was in the same camp as Henry Mask. So I've gone over to East Germany. That's when I nearly got shot. You know what I mean? I went over to East Germany to spar them guys.
Whoa, wait a minute. You nearly got shot?
Yeah.
Right, finish this story and then we'll move on to the near shooting, okay?
Right. They did 5 bullets after me.
Oh.
You know what I mean? That's East Germany.
So you didn't just get threatened with a gun?
No.
They actually opened fire at you?
They opened fire, man. I had to run. Anyway, watch this. So I've gone to East Germany to spar Henry Masker. So that Axel Schultz is there. Axel Schultz went on to box George Foreman for the world heavyweight title. But I'm in there and I'm sparring, doing me rounds with big southpaw Henry Masker. Next thing you know, I'm looking and I'm seeing Axel Schultz sparring with this heavyweight, and the heavyweight, I know it was, I can remember his name actually, so I'll just say it as it was. It was, come on, gone then. Armstrong.
Henry?
Yeah.
Is it?
No, maybe Ray Armstrong or something like that. He boxed Adam Foggett as well, I think. But anyway, we were sparring with him, and that Armstrong he was just fiddling him, going through the motions, fiddling him in that. And I'm like, so I says to that Henry Masker, I says, yeah, that's not how they're going to fight him. What? That's not how. Listen, the Americans aren't going to fight him like that. So look how strong he is. You know, he's as strong as a bull. They're not going to stand there and trade with him. So I'll tell you, he's going to mess about, pick and poke him. What do you mean? So I'll tell you what. Let me show you. Now I'm 6'2", or I was 6'2", and it's not every heavyweight in the world who's 6 foot, 6'2". There's a lot of that smaller than 6 foot.
Absolutely.
So don't think every heavyweight in the world's a giant. They're not.
Well, they're not, it's not the case.
They might be that way. You know what I mean? If you look at Mike Tyson.
That's the main example, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so I've got in the ring, but I've said to him, when I say it as it is, I said to him, right, listen, you need to tell him this. So what's that? Tell him I'm going to give him a round of boxing, but tell him I'm not an heavyweight. Don't hit me like I'm a heavyweight, because if you do, I'll wait outside at some point with a big lump of wood, and when you're not expecting it, I'll put it straight in your face and I'm off. You know what I mean? So I'm helping you. No, because I'll tell you something. Listen, if you're going to go in at... Axel Schultz couldn't speak to me in English, so I had to get him to get...
Translate get it broken down.
So listen, let's break it down, listen. And he went, I said, don't laugh. I'm not being funny.
No one was fucking laughing then, though, was it, after you said what you said?
Yeah, so hey, listen, I'll get him, but tell him, if he hits me hard, like he's hitting him, like I'm an heavyweight, which I'm not, I'll wait for him, and I'll get my revenge. I'll get him a piece of wood, and I'll put it right in his face, and I'll be gone. You know what I mean? They were laughing. I said, don't laugh, man, it's serious. So anyway, I went in with him, and I gave him a round, and he couldn't really touch me, because his feet couldn't move.
He was going to say not quick
enough. Yeah, his feet couldn't move, and I said, look, at the end of the day, you're going to get big heavyweights who's got length on them, who's going to turn around and pick you, poke you, piddle you. These are all scoring points. So unless you can close the gap properly and move your head, or not take them punches, chances are you're resistance is going to get tested without you actually testing theirs. You know what I mean? So, and it works out all right. You know what I mean? It was all right. They were good guys and that, and it was all said half tongue in cheek. You know, listen, tell him don't beat me, but tell him I will wait outside for him with a big lump of wood, and I'll put it in his head, and I'm gone. Okay, simple. You know what I mean? I'm not here to get beat up like that.
So was this the same trip as the attempt to shoot?
Yeah. So what happened when I was walking around in a big, bright green, luminous tracksuit, Nike tracksuit with my fedora hat on and my sunglasses, thinking, yeah, I've arrived. I'm here. This is the Berlin Wall had just come down. You know what I mean? And there was still dust in the atmosphere from the wall coming down. You'd be walking down the streets and ex-soldiers that come to you and they'd be going, oh, you want to buy, and they'd be trying to sell you guns and weapons and things like that. It was poverty for them. So anyway, next thing you know, I'm sat in the hotel. So it had already been established that it's all expenses paid on these trips. So I'm sat in the hotel and I'm like, okay, could I have champagne? I think that's mushroom.
This is where you thought it was in Betty's tea room, but
I'm having my steak and I'm having my Mexican
Love it.
and I've got half a bottle of wine and
Love
like
it.
that. And I'm sat there and then every so often I'm saying, are you sure this is all expenses paid? Who's paying for this?
just making sure, I'll have an extra steak.
Fair enough. So I'm sat there, and while I'm sat there, there's people in the room, and this is a long time ago, and I was young and single, and there was two ladies there. So me being the flash fat, I'm like that, and they're smiling, they're looking at me, and so like being polite. Only black guy in the room, probably only the black guy in that part of the country at that time. So I'm sat down, catching an eye. So I thought, so I was like, come here. Will you send a bottle of wine to that table, please, and tell them that they're very pleasing on the eye, so to speak. You know, just try to play it. Anyway, next thing you know, I've ended up, afterwards I've ended up walking them home. So anyway, when I'm on my way back home now, walking on air a bit, you know, walking thinking, well, man, it's international, man, you know what I mean? Everywhere we go, girl love me. All that kind of, you know what I mean? It's all about hype and ego and that at times. So anyway, next thing you know, I'm walking and I heard, blah, 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 Schwarzer. Walking, obviously not to do with me because I don't know nobody here. Blah, 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 Schwarzer swine. So I'm walking. Anyway, my brother used to read books to him all the time, army books. My family's army orientated. And there's an author called Sven Hessel. And our Colin used to always read them. And then our Ricky used to always have them little bloody comics where there'd be war, you know, there'd be war comics and that. So anyway, they'd always be in German. You know what they say in German? They'd always have little bits, Holtze, and whatever. Anyway, if you look on a boot polish, Schwartz, innit? Never seen on a kind of, oh, you man stuff.
Yeah.
You man stuff, please.
Yeah, sulphur, man. I'm not
Sorry, all right. Sulphur, that's even worse. You just beat us over there. Yeah, well done anyway. We don't need a cup run. Anyway, what's this? So, Schwarzer swine. I'm like, that's Schwarzer swine, that's black pig. Oh my God. So I've looked round and there's a group of fucking lads and there must have been about 400 metres away. 400.
How many was it? About a dozen of them? Half a dozen?
About 6 or 7 of them. You know, just, and like, Schwarzer Schweiner, Zeke, Heil. And I'm like, thinking, oh, that must be me they're talking to. Fucking hell. So I'm like that. So I had some money and I'm like, yeah. F off. So I'll tell you what, mate, piss off. And the reason why I was quite happy doing that at that distance was, listen, don't give me 400 metres start, mate. You won't catch me. Not a chance. Linford Kitson wouldn't have caught me. Habibi Bakila wouldn't have caught me. Not with 400 metres start.
It's all the blood don't about fuck all and you that though.
No. Well, I know how to take a chase. You know what I mean? You know how to take a chase. You know? If you're taking a chase from somebody and they're 500 metres away, you don't sprint. You know what I mean? Let them sprint. They need to catch you. They start sprinting, and as you give them 100 metres, give them 200 metres of them sprinting and you're jogging, then you can sprint, because they're going to gradually get slower and you're always going to maintain your distance. You know, that's how you take a chase. Anyway, next thing you know, I'm like, listen, basically, I'm going to beat up your champion, I'm I'm going to take your money, I'm going to bang your women, and I'm gone. Fuck off. You know what I mean? So I'm like, wankers, go on, piss off. And anyway, next thing you know, I'm like that. Turned around, started walking a bit, that's right, and I've heard, started running, so I'm looking around thinking, yeah, you won't catch me, you can never catch me, my hotel's only up there, but you'll never catch me. Anyway, next thing you know, I heard, that's a swiner. Like I heard, boom, boom, and I actually heard it and felt it.
Whistle past you there.
Yeah, not there, but
like close enough.
And I'm like,
yeah.
And I panicked, and I shifted off. Got back to the hotel.
That's when man sprinted.
Oh, man went, gone. Nobody could have caught me that night. Boom, get back to the hotel, got fully out into the... I'm like, listen, I've just been chased by these guys. And they were on the little flyover. And they were just on the flyover, Z-car. You know what I mean? Get him out, bring him out. Fucking hell, them fucking mental cases. Anyway, he's gone, Mr. Nicky, we told you. I said, what do you mean you told me? We told you, don't come out to the hotel, just go in the cars. Because they were saying, oh, there's going to be a car come and collect you, car take you back. And after the first time of them taking me in the car, I was like, post office, bridge, overhead bridge, turn right, you're there. And so I knew where I was. Yeah. Straight roads and that, turn right. Anyway, so after that I was like, I don't need a lift, I know where I am. Anyway, they'd been trying to tell me, don't go out, nobody goes out and that, none of the black sparring partners will come here, go out, this, that and the other. I'm like, why? I'm a Leeds 9 lad, mate, go where you want, you know, so to speak. Yeah. Free country. Anyway, he said, no, it's full of neo-Nazis and this is what happens. Like, could you not told me properly? So I understand, you know what I mean? But it's one of them, and I rung up Mickey Duff. So I rung Mickey Duff next day, I says, here, I don't know where you've sent me, but it's full of neo-Nazis and they've tried to shoot me. You know what I mean? Full of neo-Nazis and it's trying to shoot me. I don't know what I've done wrong to you. Fucking hell. Mickey, where have you sent me? He went, character building, Nick. Character building. And I'm like, but you know what it is? I didn't take it personal. I didn't take it, so I was like, fair play to you, got to survive. I went in one place to play pool on the same trip. So I put my money down, whatever marks it was. Anyway, it's my turn. So I don't know what rules they had over there and that, you know what I mean? But I'm like, 2 shots, carry on, mate. Yeah. And they're like, no, and take it. And rules, mate. And I'm like, well, no, it's my money though. You know what I mean? So I put money in, you know what I mean? So to a degree, it should be my rules, shouldn't it? You know what I mean? So there was a bit of a standoff and that, so I was like, okay. So I just took the white ball, put it in my pocket, went elsewhere, went elsewhere.
You got balls of steel, you, mate.
No, just daft, innit? Not daft, but just, listen. Well, I don't know what you're saying, and you obviously don't know what I'm saying. You're not getting another shot until we know what's going on. I know, but sometimes I think it's just fronting it, you know what I mean? You're just saying your piece. And I'm not saying it like, rah, I'm saying, well, listen, not being funny, you can't do that. You can't do that's cheating, that, you know what I mean? And he didn't understand what I was saying, and I didn't understand what he was saying, but it was my money in there, so I got white ball. But some of the trips that we had on, but really, like he said, he did say character building. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you've got to put yourself in situations, or you'll find yourself in situations that you would never have wanted to be in, and you'd never envision yourself being. But you know what? They're there.
Have you used these experiences post-career now? Because since you've retired from fighting yourself, you've been involved in many of Josh's camps, Josh Warrington's camps and stuff like that. You've trained a couple of pros, haven't you? You do a lot of stuff here now. So what sort of experiences do you tell them about? Do you think it's helped you? Not necessarily being shot at.
No, not them, but I tell them that, look, you can go. One of the things that I'll do, I'm saying to them, don't be scared to go. Don't be scared to travel. Because I'll tell you something, what we're doing a lot of the time is we're limiting ourselves to the experiences that are here and around us and that we've known all his life. And sometimes you can restrict yourself in that sense. Whereas if you turn around and actually just take a chance, go out of the street, go out of the area, go out of the country, and you'll realise that actually you might learn a lot from just looking around and being around. You know what I mean? I just say to kids, if you're right, you're right. If you're right, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. If you're right, don't start much. Don't look over there and don't look over there. Look here. You look after yourself first and foremost. Because if you're right with people, you know what I mean? I sleep very good at night. I sleep great at night. You know what I mean? I'm fortunate that I've got a body that I can still see me cock. You know what I mean? I don't have, no, listen,
It's true, yeah, it is.
There's a lot of people can't look down and see themselves. You know what I mean? If they turn around and they've got to fucking sit down to piss, they've got to, honestly, there's a lot of people who's not happy, so, but they might have plenty. Well, you know what I've got? I'm happy with me. You know what I mean? I look around here and I've got loads of lovely memories and that, loads of people, loads of things that I can look back on and I think, you know what, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? What else? I've got a lovely family. I've got lovely people around me. I wish I could appreciate them a lot more than I do. You know what I mean? But they know that my heart's good for them. You know what I mean? You can always improve on things. So from a boxing point of view,
of course, yeah, no fucker's perfect.
yeah, boxing's done great things for me. As regards Leeds boxing, I'll tell you something now. Leeds has had some fantastic fighters over the years, some really, really good fighters. But as you know yourself, sometimes I don't know if you remember the North-South divide. Yeah. Whereas all the Southerners, a lot of the Southerners used to get they were the ones who were picked to go places, and the Northern lads, they were used as like cannon fodder for them. You know what I mean? But that's all changed now, and everybody gets an opportunity. Everybody's able to get an opportunity from that boxing point of view. Me, I'm so glad to have been able to help Leeds get his first world champion.
Yeah, you're part of history.
I'm a massive part of history. When it comes right down to it, the group of lads who got together to turn around and help Josh on his journey. And the thing that you've got to remember as well is there's plenty of people being involved in that journey along the years. You know, experience-wise. A lot have come, a lot have gone.
Everyone's played a part at some point or another.
Yeah. So, me personally, I just call myself the finisher. You know what I mean? The finisher. You know what I mean? That's just that little 10%.
Few little finishing touches there.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in fucking getting up every day and every morning, fucking telling you what to do, how to do it, this, that, and the other. Listen, we've taught you to box. You should be able to box. At the end of the day, we shouldn't have to go through it every 10 seconds. We should be building up, going forward. If you're dedicated enough to this job, you'll excite me. If you excite me, you'll bring out the best in me. The best in me is more than enough to make you win. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I do believe that. You know what I mean? I've seen many a fighter who's capable of doing things, and at the end of the day, some of them don't listen. Can't help them. You know what I mean? But the thing is, from time you do, as a coach, I always say, from time I've done everything that I'm supposed to do for you and fulfilled my obligations as a coach, the rest now is up to you. Honestly, the rest is up to you. And like I say, before every fight, you know, whether I'm with you or whatever, as soon as that bell goes, you know, it's may the best man win. May the best man win and do what he's supposed to do and win. And if you come second, I'm coming second with you. But you know what it is? We've come second because we didn't do the best that we could do. Or the other fella's better than us. You know what I mean? Okay. We're always on about Josh Wellington and that. What's Josh Wellington's best victory for you? What was your favourite victory of his?
I think the Selby one, because it was his first world title. I think the manner of it, but even though he was coming towards the tail, wait a minute, who's interviewing him here? Even though he was sort of coming towards the tail end of his career, Carl Frampton, he didn't just unify a little nation for a bit because of the religious side and stuff like that. He was fighter of the year in America.
Yeah.
Fighter of the year
in America.
At bantamweight, super bantamweight, he was the fucking man to beat.
Listen, they loved him, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They loved his style, loved his
and what
character,
Josh did from the opening bell of that fight in Manchester, wow.
Listen,
and boy, the Leeds loving away there.
We'd come and we'd said, right, we're off to Manchester for the fight. We don't mind that. Right, we don't mind that.
Yeah, Leeds don't mind coming in and going to the trenches.
Let me say.
You don't mind coming to the trenches.
We're off to Manchester for a fight. It's not often we go to Manchester and come back with a result. Usually we always have, whether it's football, whether it's rugby, whether it's whichever, we always have a right good go. Sometimes we come back disappointed. Majority of the times we come back disappointed. Okay. We're off to Manchester and we're off for a fight. This is a fight we can win. We're not expected to win it, but I think we can win it. Josh thought he could win it. Sean thought he could win it. We all thought we could win it. Okay, what do we need to do? Go and win it. So when we took a real army of support over there, who were real passionate about the job that they thought that this team could do. So all right, they were nervous and that because everyone knows that Carl Frampton's a very, very good fighter, well-respected fighter, and for one night only, anybody can bring it back. And he was confident. Him and Jamie Moore and them were confident, so we were like, all right, cool.
I know, and the mad thing about that was as well, it was a VIP trained fighter against a VIP fighter, which I love because obviously Jamie was with Woody from the start, so there's never going to be no malice or anything there. It's just fucking business, innit? Business.
Did you know that?
Love it. Fucking love it.
In the run up to the camp, I went up to VIP to Jamie Moore's gym. You know where Steve is? He says, oh, can I just have a look around here, Steve? And he opened the door, let me in. So I had these fake cameras there. So I put fake cameras in the gym. And then pretended that I were like thinking, spying on them and that. You know, and I still got the pictures. You know, just winding them up, you know what I mean? Just saying, yeah, we've got cameras watching your training sessions and this, that and the other. And I don't know, but one of the fuckers fell down and it showed that it was just a dummy camera. You know, we put them up in there, Jim.
What was Jamie's reaction to that?
Oh, he was like, fucking, what did you let him in for? Fucking, just came in to say hello. You know what I mean? So, no, you play the game, don't you?
That's it, man. That's it. It's all fun and games, isn't it?
Listen, let me tell you, so I come from a generation where I watched Muhammad Ali, you know, all them man there, the old school where, you know what it is? You know what it is? You go to the hotel and you take the fucking fuse out the air conditioning and that, you know what I mean? And just to give them a problem, you take the plug off the fridge and that, just to give them a problem. You turn around and put a bit of itching powder in the bed or something like that, you know what I mean? Just wind them up and that, you know what I mean? It's nothing malicious, it's not nasty, it's just play the game. Right, take the light bulbs out, you know, take the light bulbs out.
Yeah, that's right. My old man used to do things like that with me. My man went to the chippy once, we'd come back in, we've moved the mirror, the couch, we've changed the curtains and everything. Yeah. Man's walking up and scratching it, he's too knob heads done.
Little things, it's like when we was at the arena and things like that, you know what I mean? I'd go in opponent's changing room and take the fridge out and leave them with a little fridge. You might think, that's no, but you know when you've got a big fridge that holds all your waters, and then you've got a little fridge that only holds 10 bottles of water, but you've got 20, 30 bottles of water sat aside at the fridge, it scratches your head because you want all of them cold. You know, little things like that. Take the chairs out and that, leave them with them, take the sofas out and leave them with chairs and that, and then it's up to them. You know what I mean? You know, just little gamesmanship, and that's the way the game's like. When Lee Selby boxed, and I got accused of holding up some blown up sheep and that, you know what I mean? But it was just a wind up, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, they say that the world's a sheep shaggers, don't they? You know what I mean? So it was like just the way of winding them up and trying to just...
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But fair play to Tony Borg, he took it well and he was like that. Oh, we shags them, you eat them. I thought fair play to you. You know what I mean? You got us. But no, good experience. Tell you what was a joy to see. When I first saw Joe Kawasaki and his dad working together, I thought I was fast. And I thought I'd seen a couple of other fast fighters. Sometimes you've just got to take it off and turn around and go, you know what?
Absolutely.
Shut up. Shut up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I see him, and seeing him now, and when I meet up with him now, and when I see him now, you've got to admire what a gentleman he was, and you've got to admire what courage he had. And he's such a humble guy, such a nice, humble guy, and you can't beat that. A lot of people, they get a bit of success and it changes them.
Goes to their head.
Yeah, it does go to their head, and in reality, they've got to realise that actually people know them. And you can fool the public sometimes, but you can't fool them all the time. The mask always slips off.
So contender-wise, who's on the cusp for you? Who do you think's ready to be pushed to the next step? Do you think Dalton's there or thereabouts yet?
I don't know, because Dalton seems to be treading ground. I've seen him have a few international matches that I thought, oh, he's on the way. But you know what, though? I know they say if you're young enough, you're good enough. But I'd like to see a lot of the fighters have a little bit more consistency. You know what I mean? Fight a bit more regular. Fight. Not every fight has to be a great step forward. I think sometimes you can have good fights around the same level as what you are or what people think you are, just to establish that and just to get yourself strong.
Do you know what I compare that to? Like Gary Neville wants to fucking push Salford straight to the fucking Premier League.
No, go for the leagues.
No, slow down. You don't have to buy a different squad every season to try and get there as quick as possible.
Just nice and steady, wait until you peak and get to the top, you know what I mean? And build, solidify. At the end of the day, just because you hit with somebody with a jab, don't mean to say you can throw a good jab. Okay, let's get 3 or 4 more people and see if you can hit them. Or when you're hitting them regular now, we know that you've got a bit of consistency and that you might have range and an eye and the ability to put your jab from different parts, different levels to hit a target. Now we know you can throw a jab, you know what I mean? I like to see these kids mark time a little bit sometimes, you know, like they'll have a hard fight that you go, yeah, it's surprised me there. We'll give them another one at that same level, you know what I mean? It's like the other day, Pat Barrett, I was very, very pleased for him the other day, honestly. You could see a load of pressure gone off his shoulders and that, you know what I mean? Because he's had it hard. I know that's...
especially the way the fight was going as well.
Well, you know what though?
Sort of ringside.
It was a great fight. It was very infuriating at some times because you think, listen, Lyndon, just inject some pace, move a little bit faster, and just pick it up a little. He
said in a couple of interviews afterwards, he knows he should throw his hands more because he's fast for a light heavyweight as well.
But it's just a matter of he's choosing to do it that way, and it's like, well, fair enough. But I love the fact that he could catch. You know what I mean? And he just sees it, reads it so well. He could see he was in the zone. But what I'd like him to have done is, rather than wait until whether the 10th round to turn around and start picking it up, maybe go earlier. You know what I mean? Just touch that man, touch him to the body, make him have to turn around and have his hands up and down. Because to a degree, the kid only had to have his hands there, and even though he were catching him with shots and that, it was shots that he were ready for, that's shots that he were prepared for. And when he caught him with that body shot finally, effortless. You know what I mean? But you know he caught him on that floating rib, don't you? Felt it for him. Yeah, felt it. Oh, that Dillian, I felt it for him. I thought, you know what? He's not going nowhere.
He was ranked higher than Lyndon as well.
Pardon?
He was ranked higher than Lyndon.
Oh.
Tough fight for an IBO title.
Oh, well,
massive,
you know what it is?
Tough.
Very tough, you know what I mean? But at the same time, always put it into context. You know, he's always put it into context. The IBO's getting a little bit of kudos now, isn't it? Again? Or it's getting a lot of advertisement. You know what I mean? Okay, who's next? One more. Let's go. We've got to go with Buatsi and Aziz. Talk to me. What do you think?
It's a friend fight, isn't it?
Yeah, but what I like to do...
Whether a stall pick can draw a bit of...
I think it will. They're going to get into it. And I think they've got... Listen, them two see now the calibre and the entertainment that's been given in a few of these recent all-British fights. And I think that they know that they're obliged to perform.
To bring war.
Yeah, they've got to bring it, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I've loved the way that some of these all-English encounters have been going on, like the Mason Cartwright the other day with Antigal. Fantastic fight.
The domestic title fights always produced
well, it's pride in it, and that's the thing that when all these kids are avoiding each other and fighting in from wherever and in from wherever and in from wherever, and you know that for the fact that they're just coming in to get paid, how can these kids pick themselves up properly to do that? You know what I mean? They can't, because you can't replicate fear, you can't replicate nerves, and that you've got to be you're not going to be nervous unless you're nervous. And for you to be nervous might be for you to be with somebody who you think there's a chance you could lose.
So who wins, Buatsi or Aziz? Aziz has been very active.
That's the thing.
No, he is probably the best contender that we've got now to go onto the world stage. Buatsi turned down over $1 million to fight Bivol.
Who did Buatsi? Reason that for that, isn't there?
There's always reasons, isn't there?
There's always reason for that. Clever man. You know what I mean? Don't need Bivol now. Bivol stops all his intentions and his money. You don't beat Bivol at this point in time. Not for me. I mean, so smart move to turn that down. Come back and you can get couple of domestic rivals. You know what I mean? Because you've got, like you say,
some fucking quality that division right now.
It's set up in it. Listen, he beats whoever wins in Yard and Yard and Buatsi. Listen, Lyndon could call him out. If they want to go that direction, it's a good money fight, depending on what platform they want to have it on. If not, whoever loses can fight Lyndon for that. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Because with the IBO being a little bit less regarded, that could be a stepping fight for a champion who loses, so to speak, you know what I mean? What is it they're going to fight for? What's in the yard?
British, EBU, European.
Say European, this thing has got European, hasn't it? So there'll be loads of baubles at stake. Interesting. I do like the idea. We missed a lot of like heavyweight fights over the years.
That division's back now, baby.
Yeah, but even so, we missed a lot of fights at that point in time. You know, your Callum Johnson's, your what's that other big skinny lad?
He's making a comeback apparently.
Is he?
Apparently, probably at cruiserweight though.
He's got heavy hands. He's a big lad, but at the same time, I'm also a believer that sometimes
his heart's not in it.
Yeah,
I've always said that.
Got to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of kids, you know what they do? They put so much time into boxing that they feel that they've got to do something to get something out of it. You know, it's like having an apprenticeship. You do your apprenticeship with an intention to do a job, but sometimes you do an apprenticeship, and by the time you finish the apprenticeship, you realise that I don't want to do this job. But I don't know if he's doing it for memories of and
another one that could possibly be thrown into the mix as well. He's making a comeback, and I know he's going to be fighting at light heavyweight, Billy Joe Saunders. It's just a bit too long out of the ring though, isn't it? But he's one of the most talented kids that we've had in the last 20 years.
I've never quite got it.
You don't get it, would you do that?
I've never quite got it, no.
Why's that?
I don't know. I've never quite got it because I don't know if it's because...
His attitude?
No, I don't know. No, his boxing style's nice. But I've not really seen him sit down and... For all his ability, I like people to stand and throw them bombs sometimes, you know what I mean? He's had good fights. I've seen him in good fights. I don't quite get it. I know he's a talented fighter and all that. Yeah, I know
what you mean, though.
Some you like, some you don't. You know, when I say, and I don't mean personally as in him, I'm on about his boxing style. You know, his boxing style, his boxing ways and that. I'm like, maybe it's because he's a southpaw and I don't understand him. You know what I mean? You know, when I say I don't understand him, I'm like, I'm not a southpaw, so I get that and this, that and the other, but I can more visually be pleased seeing an orthodox fighter throw his things because I can straight away understand that straight away. Whereas with Billy being a southpaw, he's doing...
They throw a jab for 12 rounds rather than a couple of hooks in and mix it up. And that.
But he's a winner, you know what I mean? He's a winner and you can't knock him. I wish him the best of luck and I wish him the best in his future. I hope he comes back for the right reasons and with the right intentions and that and gets his weight down properly and that, you know what I mean? He'll end up probably... I'd have thought that he'd been coming back wanting a little bit of Chris Eubanks, seen Chris Eubanks.
I did.
Well, no, that could come at a real future point. He'll end up boxing bloody KS, what is it? John Paul or something, whatever his name is. Jake Paul.
One of them. Jake
Logan. Anyway, listen, the last thing I'll turn around and say is, Tyson Fury is head and shoulders above all of these heavyweights.
Absolutely.
100%. And you know what? For me, double, triple D should be a world unified champion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Going on about low blow. His belt, his shorts shouldn't be covering his belt for the start, and they shouldn't have been all the way up to here.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know what
and it was the movement as well of Usyk.
Yeah.
When the shot was thrown.
He jumped up. I thought Usyk jumped up before the fight was thrown. Before the punch was thrown, I thought he elevated his body, which makes it even worse.
It was the reaction as well.
Yeah.
It's like, give that man an Oscar.
Do you do as a world champion? As a champion, I don't think you'd want to be on the floor rolling about like that.
He embarrassed himself.
When he looks at that tape afterwards and thinks...
Reaction says it. I think I've seen you put pictures on social media, and it was the reaction of Usyk after the fight, and it just said it all.
Yeah, and you go, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it.
Do you think that's what made... I won't say a lot of people are giving it Dubois the fighting the quitting word at him again.
Can I just say
But
something?
do you think it was just his head fell off with it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. You know something?
It's not easy, is it?
You go in there, imagine that young kid's gone in there against who's been thought of as one of the most talented heavyweights in the last 20 years. 20 years, yeah. How long's Tyson been retired?
Yeah, how long has Lennox been retired? About 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say 18 years in that, you know what I mean, talent-wise, movement-wise, skill-wise. And you've got Dubois, who's a bit like a bus, in it, you know what I mean, a big bus. Takes some turning, takes some
Like
stopping.
a Bruno.
Yeah. But this kid's trained to land specific shots, if he can, against all the odds, and hopefully hit him hard enough to stop him. And all his excitement, all his everything about himself, all his being is about this. Pressure's in there. He throws that punch, it comes up, he knocks the kid down. He sees him go down for however long. You can exhale and go, wow, I've done it. I'm just waiting for this decision now. And then all of a sudden it's told, you've got to fight again. Can I get all this up? Can I get this back up again and get to the
3 minutes 45 seconds he took out.
How much?
3 minutes 45 seconds.
Not right.
And he's doing all that.
Might as well cancel the
Did you
fight.
see the bit he was holding his chest in that at one point? What's he doing?
You know, just embarrassing himself. Okay, then another one. We've got the cat finish on that. You can edit it, do what you got. Listen, Chris Eubanks and
Be fair.
come on.
I think if Smithy didn't catch him with that 1 in a million shot in the first fight, that's exactly how it would have gone.
Yeah, fair play. But you know what? I'm always going to try and see two sides of the story from a positive point of view. And I actually thought that with the experience and knowledge that Liam had, that he'd be able to counter certain things that Chris would do. But obviously the speed and the variety of Chris and the freshness, I'd say as well. But I'm very disappointed that Liam had to come out with excuses after the fight, regardless of whether he was injured or not, whether he did have weight problems or not.
If he had to cut 3 stone, then that's his own problem.
That's
for getting to
that's
that
his
anyway.
own problem. If you know that you've got a rematch coming, everything should have been about that rematch, not going partying or ballooning however much you think you want. There's no pictures, there's no evidence at all of him putting on that.
Prime example is Tyson. Everyone knows he can put on a stone.
Mike Tyson.
Fury.
Listen,
He can
you know
put
what
on a stone.
You've got to start putting some respect on that man's name. The Tyson, Mike Tyson. There's only one Tyson. You know what I mean? There's only one Tyson. You should have said Tyson Fury.
Mr. Fury.
Sorry. All right, Mr. Fury.
Looks at a chocolate cake he can put on a stone.
Oh.
Back in the day, you weren't really arsed, didn't give a fuck. Now, that is not the case.
Like you've got to have that athletic. Do you think? Oh, Ngunu's looking kind of sharp on the pads, don't they all? Do you think he has any chance at all?
Who's that?
That Ngunu, the UFC fighter.
It's an exhibition, isn't it? So.
But is it an exhibition?
Yeah, it's only 8 rounds.
Is it an exhibition or exhibition? Listen, you know yourself. At the end of the day, even you say, "All right, let's have that for spar." You go, "I'll tell you what, you hit me hard there."
But we'll see when it comes down to it.
I hope. Listen, they're making money for each other, and they're all pals in that. But I hope that they do have a little bit of a go with each other. I think that kid's going to try. You know, I think he's obliged to try because he's representing you, or is it? He's representing the UFC and that. You know what I mean? So they need to be saying, "Listen, our UFC big guys can take out your."
It's a money fight, isn't it? It's like the Mayweather McGregor one.
Yeah.
Crossover.
I don't begrudge him making his money, you know. I don't. Not with the way that the heavyweights are going on and how so many others are avoiding. And also, I don't even know if that fight could have been made before now. You know, with Usyk.
Yeah, well, I know Tyson definitely won the negotiation side of the things.
And then when it come down to it, Krashuk, Usyk's manager, pulled him out of it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's all sorts of misinformation.
There was 8 million on the table for him.
It was a lot more than they got over there, wasn't it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But anyway, listen, I hope you're entertained. I hope you found our little chat interesting. I hope so, because you know what? I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you for your time.
No,
Nick.
thanks
It's
very
been
much
a
for coming
pleasure,
down.
mate. And we'll be back on for next week's episode.
Let me show you around the gym anyway as we go. These memories are here.
Can't buy these experiences, can you, mate?
No, not at all. You know what I mean? And when it comes right down to it, I laugh, and I think to myself, you know what? So proud to have been involved. Look at this one. Hang on a minute. Let me turn this round. should have left that one like that. Frank Warren. And then we've got, this is how we have the gym and that, full of all the kids and that. And then we've got our Mally there on his debut with Eddie Hearn. And then we always have these little subliminal messages around the gym, just to let them know. And sometimes the kids want to see you with say, oh, have you met him? Have you met him? So we've got myself and Mike Tyson. This is Henry Wharton, Denzel, Michael Gale, Tony Silkstone, Dave Larkin, myself. You know what I mean? There's another Denzel at Carnival. Anyway.
Off duty there.
Yeah. Some good kids down there. Yeah. This one here. The gym that I had before, I had Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler on the wall, and I got Tommy Hearns to sign this picture of that, just for the memory of that. This is my favourite one. When certain kids come in, I ask them, which one's you? Which one's you? And then tell them to go watch Django.
For anyone who's not seen Django, go and watch it.
Cool film. Cool film. And then here you've got a couple of memories and that. I like my nostalgia, but if I'm going to get anybody to sign a glove for me, I don't want it. I want them to sign it in front of me. So I got Evander Holyfield to sign that, and then I got Larry Holmes to sign that, because them two fought each other.
Ricky Hatton there.
Ricky Hatton up top, yeah.
Josh's boots, and when he beat Selber, first world title.
Yeah.
Get up there, boy.
And this here was the glass that I drunk copious amounts of champagne on the night in Leeds United's banqueting, whatever suite it was that it was in, executive suite, and I got it engraved and thought, you know what, I'm keeping that forever.
Class.
No memories you can't
Absolutely
buy.
class, exactly, mate.
Obviously, with various IBFs, WBAs, IBO, WBC, I always made sure that I got my my little badges for my mentors for each one, because you never know. Obviously, Josh has played his part in trying to inspire the kids and the youths and that. This is when we had some of these little kids now are boxing amateur.
Good 8 years ago, that as well.
Yeah, good while ago. You know what I mean? Up here, I'll always love that. That was when I boxed at Romania, multi-nations. Let me see.
Jesus, it's older than me, that medal.
Yeah. The same, a month after coming back from Romania, Romania was overthrown, Ceausescu and all that business. We overthrew the government. Mally Wright. That's obviously a special night. Warrington won his world title.
Josh has never been so fucking high up in the air.
I know, bloody hell. Tyson Fury with my son. Looking after him. Some good little pictures of experience there. Josh and Mally. The lads. My hero Tommy Hearns. Wharton. Yeah, some good times. There's our lad here, the late Brendan Ingle. Some good experiences here. Jake LaMotta.
The Raging Bull.
I came to Leeds in the late 80s.
Bet he never wanted to fucking come back though, did he?
He came back a few times. He loved it. He loved it. He's a Leeds fella. That there. I'll be so proud of that. I'm always so proud of them rings. Olympic rings. That was the multi-nations tournament where I won the silver medal.
You are watching Niche Sports, a sports media outlet that's proudly sponsored by heshes.co.uk, a fast-growing boxing equipment brand that supply custom designs and bespoke equipment across the United Kingdom.
Body's moving to the beat. I love the way you're slowly getting close to me.